Hello, my name is Shaytoya with KV Communications with the Las Vegas IT Management Podcast. And today I'm super excited to be speaking with Wally Lee. He is a vice president at LGC Group. How are you doing today, Wally?
Doing wonderfully today.
Good. I'm so glad to hear that. I'm super excited to get to know you a little bit better. Can you tell us a bit about your role as a vice president at LGC Group and how your journey led to this profession?
Sure. I'm actually responsible for all IT for urinalysis and toxicology from the infrastructure on up to the ERP system. Everything related to information flows in the business and the computers and the network and also the cybersecurity and keeping it secure is under my responsibility for actually two locations, one in Long Island, New York, and one in Garden Grove, California, and then some remote workers.
Got it. And did you say a VPR system? Exactly what is that?
So VP for IT systems. So
Got it.
information
Awesome.
information technology. Yeah, sorry. It's a
No,
traditional title. Yeah, the
no, you're
traditional title.
fine.
Yeah.
I just ask, but sometimes, our audience may not know exactly what that is. So, we
Yeah.
may have different terms with being in the industry and other people may not
Sure, sure,
understand.
sure. So it's basically for anything that has informational technology involved, right? So it could be SCADA systems that might control the lyophilizers. We have freeze dryers to freeze dry our products. So there's a PC that runs the SCADA system. From that on up to the business system, which would be the financial system, and then the order to cash system, the shipping system, the warehouse system all together. So the ERP
Got it.
system and anything ancillary that's related to those systems to allow the business to run. So operationally, we look at all the information that's going in and out, the communications, and look at that in terms of how do we make sure that it's running correctly and then it's running as efficiently as possible.
Got it. That's pretty cool. And then I guess how did you become the vice president LGC Group?
Yeah, so basically, I started out as an engineer way back when, close to 30 years ago. Got into supercomputing with supercomputers in the mid 90s, early 90s. Got into become a IT architect for a large enterprise of 10,000 people, five different groups for a large defense company. Then from there, went on to various roles and become a CIO for a larger company, and then became a director for a wholesale 99 cents wholesale company that moved a lot of packs in and out to becoming into the health manufacturing. So medical manufacturing area, came in as a director and then moved up to vice president.
Got it. And
Yeah,
that's thank you for sharing. And what are some of the
yeah.
core values and missions of LGC Group and how does your role contribute to these?
Yeah, so the core value for us is to provide the quality controls for the healthcare industry, for the medical devices. For example, we provide urinalysis control. We've been known for 45 years to have the best controls in the industry. And to maintain that quality, you have to have all the processes in place, and you have to make sure that you're meeting the ISO 13485 standards, so compliance for that, and the FDA standards, so that all of our controls are not deviating from what the standard should be. So quality is kind of the main goal of LGC in all of our products because we are clinical diagnostics. So our products have to work so that when you go as a patient to the hospital and then it does your lab work, for example, blood, urine, or whatever it is, that the machine is giving you the right information so that the doctors can do the right diagnostics.
Got it. And how are
Yeah.
some ways that you've found to help with these systems? Because I know, especially within being in the medical field, I know there's a
Mhm.
lot of HIPAA regulations you guys have to
Yes.
follow.
Yeah.
Uh,
So HIPAA is more on the patient privacy and a portability of your healthcare information that you have control of. So that's HIPAA. We don't do HIPAA because we don't know the patient. Ours is more diagnostic control, so it's separated from patient information. But our controls are has to meet a certain quality standard, and that's driven by our ISO standards and also FDA standards. So it's a little bit different in that
Got it.
respect. Yeah.
Got it. Understood. And then, the big topic right now that we've been talking about
Mhm.
is how has the rise of AI impacted the field of cybersecurity?
So it's become a lot more faster in terms of the hackers getting access to your systems. It's still account takeover is about 90% of the hacking that's going on, right? So they take over an account that may be dormant or an ex-employee. That's what happened with Colonial Pipeline. And they take that over, and then all of a sudden they take over the OT, which is the operational technology that controls the valves and all that. And then they take that over and then shut down your pipeline, for example. That's what happened with Colonial. Same thing happened with MGM, local to Las Vegas. There was a flaw in the single sign-on Okta, but they took advantage of the customer service by sending hey, my 2FA is not working. Can you send an email to my Gmail account? So that's how they got to the account and then elevated themselves to admin and then shut down everybody and did ransom, right? Basically a big ransom, and they would lost probably $100 million in 2 weeks that they were down. So because of AI, the large language model, it gives you the code. And now I'm not saying the code is accurate. It does still hallucinate, but it gives the speed of the hackers to be a lot faster than before. And so that's what you have to watch out for. And then the other thing you have to watch out for is the quantum computing. So there was a Chinese researcher that actually broke the encryption code for RSA at a lower level with quantum computing. But imagine what they're doing in the military side for military encryption. So there's a lot of things going on with quantum computing and AI that's increasing the speed at which the hackers can get to your systems.
Got it. And I know that's been a huge topic on our podcast
Hmm.
is MGM.
Yes.
We so we've talked about that a few times. So cybersecurity is huge right now. So what specific cybersecurity challenges, you did mention some, but has AI introduced, and how can organizations address them?
Yeah. So, I mean, AI is going to be out there. People are going to start hacking with it. The level entry of hacking is very low. So, and then anybody with a computer from not even have a computer, they might go to a computer rental place, like in Pakistan or wherever they are. And you have the, advanced persistent threats like from nation states like North Korea, China. They're going to come after you. They're going to come after you. And it's kind of, it's like a layered process for cybersecurity, right? It's the Swiss cheese model, right? You got to try to plug up the holes and layer in defense. But with the advent of AI and these hackers, they will leverage that to get to the holes faster, right? Into your environment. So, so that's what we have to watch out for. It's evolving. Is it where you think it's going to be like Terminator? No. We're not even AGI, which is artificial general intelligence. That's not threatening. When you get to artificial superior intelligence, ASI, that's when we got to get concerned. But I think we're way far away from that at this point.
Got it. And
Yeah.
yeah, I know I was podcast that I had last week, we were talking about that. And I know he was saying from what you're speaking about, we're probably looking at more of like 2030
Probably beyond that.
beyond.
Because
Gotcha.
remember, it's about this. If the AI can understand the first principle of physics and then build something by itself, that's when we got to be concerned, right?
Right.
So if the AI is as smart enough as Elon Musk, that's when we got to get concerned, right? Until they understand the first principles and how to manipulate the physics of the environment, that's when you get superiority. It's not just language models, right? Right now, the language model is only as good as the training model that you have. And one thing you have to be concerned about is when you have training modules and you're using somebody else's language module that's out in the public, well, a hacker might have poisoned that. So how do you know that's safe for your environment? And how do you know that your training module is safe? Did anybody hack your training module for your AI? So those are the things that you got to think about. when you're using AI and developing that for your own businesses, you know.
Got it. And so how can a business protect themselves from these training models?
Yeah. So you got to have a AI policy, right? That's the first thing. So first of all, you got to figure out your crown jewels. Okay, I have this business and I'm making money. And I'm making money because I do something really well, right? So what is that crown jewel of information that you need to keep protected? Okay. One policy is you can't use ChatGPT and put company sensitive information into that ChatGPT so that it can be used in public. So that's kind of the first policy, right? The second policy you got to have is if you're building AI, you have to have a safety rule in there. The AI cannot make safety decisions for the company, right? It cannot affect any health of any individual in the company or the customer, and that should be a policy if you're going to implement AI in your company. So those are the things that you have to consider: is what are the policies that you're going to implement as a company to protect not only your employees but to protect your customers, right? So that has to be very top of the line, not just using AI and how to use it and all that kind of stuff, but it's like what are the policies to make sure that it's being used safely and also protecting the company information that's proprietary.
Got it. And could you also explain how AI is used to both improve cybersecurity defenses?
Well, AI has been around for since Alan Turing defined AI, right? Since the 40s. And then, in the 90s, remember they had this thing called expert systems that if you have a very specific domain, the software will actually use the neural network to give you solutions, right? For healthcare or whatever it is. Remember, we had Blue, I think the IBM supercomputer that beat the world chess champion, for example. That was an expert system that in a specific domain of chess, right? So we've had this for a long time. AI has been there. The neural network has been there a long time. Machine learning has been there a long time. So the hype is way ahead of where the technology is today. But so when you have a lot of hype, what happens? You have people imagining, a movie kind of scenario that's happening with Terminators, for example. But it is a reality. The reason that the large language model became so prevalent is because the price of the GPUs had dropped in the 2020s. So it became much cheaper to have all these GPUs that you could use to create the large language models, and you're going to have that continue to drop and have be affordable, but you're still talking billions of dollars of GPUs to make OpenAI work, right? So the next AI is going to be more intensive, like what Tesla is doing with the Joe Dojo, for example. So as we get further with these AI resources, it's going to be much better and better as we go. Is it where it needs to be? No, I'm not too worried about it killing us, but you could. I mean, right now with the Ukrainians, they're developing new weapon systems, and who's to say they're not using neural network and put a machine gun on a dog that's like Boston Dynamics, a robot dog, and going out and killing people, right? So it's that kind of ethical questions will be in place coming soon. But for what we are in general, I don't think there should be a large concern, except for you got to be careful of how you use AI or how you're going to implement AI in your local environments. Yeah. And then
Got
it
it.
does give an advantage to the bad people, right? They're going to use it to get what you want, but also on the good side, we're using AI today, right? So we have a lot of things that are monitoring our network that used to be human. So the typical thing that a company would have is a SOC, which is a Security Operations Center, and you would have people maintain that with kind of a logging system that would like Splunk that would actually bring in all the log data to see if there's a hacker in your environment. Well, now you have a lot of AI companies that actually offer that service without having the human there, right? So you can take advantage of that. There's a lot of endpoint protection that's AI based. So you have, of course, CrowdStrike. Everybody knows CrowdStrike because we had that blue screen of death for a while. But they're one of those that does the endpoint. Darktrace, for example, is AI based. So a lot of the vendors are AI based and then providing that kind of service. So it's just kind of, remember the spy versus spy cartoons? It's kind of like that. So they're going to use AI and you're going to use AI to protect yourself. So the hackers are going to use that and we're going to use that to counter that. So it's a matter of, who it's kind of a global war in a sense that is just kind of going forward as the technology advances. So you just got
Got
to keep up with it. People have to keep up with it.
got it. And how does someone keep up with it?
You gotta, either get an advisory service that will help you, or somebody that's in the field that is focused on that, or even small businesses, they have to take advantage of the lower cost AI tools that are available to them to protect their environment. But you do have to have somebody that knows what they're doing to uh, help you do that, especially if you're really small. But most small business that I'm looking at is mostly 20 million and up mid-sized companies. They do need to invest in counter AI technologies to prevent hacking coming. Plus, you have to do your usual stuff for pen testing and all that to make sure that you're up to snuff. But it doesn't mean that the hacker can't get in, right?
Right.
They can take over somebody's Gmail account and ask for a 2FA, counter the TFA, and get the account information, and then log in and go to wherever they want to go to. Or they can use deepfake. They can do a deepfake voice deepfake. They can do video deepfake to pretend to be the CEO and to wire money out. So there's a lot of things that they can do, and it's more education. So the two things you have to do is not only counter with AI, but also educate your employees of what's happening, what is real, right? And then you have that procedures to do that to make sure that you're not sending $500,000 wire to some guy that is flying across to Japan and pretending to be the CEO.
Right. That's very important. And then from a
Yeah.
cybersecurity point, how can AI tools balance innovation with data privacy and security concerns?
It can balance, it cannot balance. It depends on how you use it. So it's always like this. So I used to be in defense, so we would have, weapon systems, and it would be the operator. It's how you train the operator that use the weapon system to the effectiveness of that weapon system, for example. So, so for AI and everything that we're talking about, it's how the employees are using it and how they train to use it to counter whatever it is that we're doing, right? So if we can have a procedure of training the people to be familiar with AI, what it can do, what it cannot do, and it's a whole process of training and education for the operators, right? AI is just like a technology. It's just something that's coming, and it's kind of prevalent now. Everybody's using ChatGPT, for example. I use ChatGPT to develop some of my coding, but it's not correct. So how do you know what the information they're giving you is correct or not, right? So you have to have somebody that's experienced to know that is not correct, and then you have to correct that. So you can't just. There's a sample. I think there was a case where a lawyer cited ChatGPT on a case, and ChatGPT gave him a false citation, and the judge fined him $5,000 and threw out the case.
Mm,
So, that is happening at this point. So you can't trust what it is today.
got it. And so just the importance of kind of using ChatGPT or whatever platform you are using more for a starting point.
Just as a starting point, as a tool, but with a caveat that the human needs to make decisions and to make sure that it's correct. And you can't just trust it 100% at this point.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Okay.
And as I said, I've really enjoyed today, and I'm excited for our listeners to have an opportunity to hear from you. And thank you so much, Wally.
Thank you very much. Bye.